Lemonada.
You know, Elizabeth, I felt like I knew Lululemon. I shop at Lululemon all the time. And then I tried something new from their spring collection, and it completely surprised me. I have been wearing the Rulu Drapey Yoga Jogger nonstop. And the thing that drew me to it is how soft it is. You know how I am about texture and how things feel. It has that loose drapey feel, but it still holds its shape so it doesn't feel baggy. I wear them morning, noon, and night. I just didn't expect it to be this versatile. I can wear it wherever I want.
Well, Gretchen, I am living in the steady state super loft joggers. I'm wearing them right now. I have the black. I have burgundy bay color, which I'm wearing every other day. I just ordered another pair. They are the best, and I feel like they really elevate my athleisure.
Well, and here's the thing you need to know. Lululemon does limited color runs. So when those new styles drop every Tuesday, they do go fast. So you don't want to wait. And if it's not for you, Lululemon offers free returns, no risk. That's Lululemon.com. New drops every Tuesday. Go now.
What if the life you built online suddenly became real and completely out of your control? In Carol Claire Burke's debut novel, Yesteryear, Natalie is a trad wife influencer with a picture-perfect life and millions of followers until she wakes up in 1855 and everything she's been romanticizing becomes something she has to survive.
Carol Claire Burke is also the co-host of the podcast Diabolical Lies, and readers are calling this book impossible to put down with a twist that's completely off the rails in the best way. Yesteryear is available now in print, audio, and ebook. Hello and welcome to Happier. And today we're doing something a little bit different. This is an episode that was recorded live at South by Southwest. But Elizabeth, you weren't there.
No, I got sick and I didn't make it. I'm so bummed.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to listen to the episode.
Yes. So you were not able to be there for my conversation with Jenny Wallace, but you sent me this voice memo that makes it very clear why you decided to stay home.
Hey, Gretch, sorry I'm not there in South by Southwest, but as you can hear, my voice is absolutely as bad as I predicted it would be. Have a great show.
Oh, man, Alyssa, you sound so bad.
Yes, I have improved since then.
Yeah, clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoy the episode.
Hello, we're here for More Happier, a podcast where we get happier. It is the weekend, so we are kicking back with a little bit of a looser vibe. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Gretchen.
Okay, today we are coming to you from the beautiful downtown of Austin, Texas. We are participating in a live podcast extravaganza with the World Happiness Summit here at South by Southwest. It's a day of happiness. Yay! Yeah. More happiness for all. But sadly, my sister and co-host, Elizabeth, is not here today. She got really sick and she lost her voice. So there really wasn't much point in her coming. So we were going to have a sisterly adventure. We were going to share a hotel room, but she had to stay behind in LA. But fortunately, I have Jenny here with me. And here's a little bit about Jenny. Jennifer Wallace is an award-winning journalist. Her first book, Never Enough, When Achievement Culture Becomes Toxic and What We Can Do About It, was a New York Times bestseller. Jenny began her journalism career at 60 Minutes, and her new book, Mattering, The Secret to a Life of Deep Connection and Purpose, just hit the shelves. It is getting a tremendous amount of buzz. And so to set the stage for our conversation, so you know about the book, here's a description. As mental health declines and loneliness, disconnection, and burnout surge, we often blame polarizing politics, social media, or the pace of modern life. Drawing on 6 years of research and over 200 interviews around the globe, award-winning journalist and best-selling author Jennifer Wallace reveals that beneath these issues lies a deeper crisis, an erosion of mattering. Her new landmark book introduces a transformative new framework to confront the loneliness, burnout, and lack of purpose that many of us face today. Wallace makes an urgent case. Mattering, the feeling that we are valued and have an opportunity to add value is a core human need as essential to our well-being as food and water. And yet in today's world, the fundamental need is going unmet with perilous consequences. I am so excited to be getting into it with you today. Jenny, hello.
Hello, Gretchen. Hi, everybody.
I know, this is so fun. We have talked about your book before, but I've never really gotten a chance to just really get into a deep dive with you. And now I have her where I want her, so I can ask all the questions. But before we do that, what is something making us happier? What's something making you happier?
Something that's making me happier is something that came out of researching the book, which is learning how to matter to myself.
Ooh.
Which sounds like it should be obvious, but it isn't. And so I'll tell you my little quick practice.
Oh, good. I love a happiness hack.
Every morning as I'm brushing my teeth, I think about what is one small need that I need to meet today for myself so I can show up as my best self for the people who are relying on me and also for myself. So it could be calling my sister for 45 minutes. It could be listening to music. It could be what I've come to think of as grandmothering myself. So not mothering myself, but spoiling myself like a grandmother. And like reading a book and drinking delicious tea and having some extra chocolates. So what is one tiny thing? And not to do it at the end of my to-do list, to radically prioritize myself, even just in a small way every day.
I love the idea of grandmothering yourself. Elizabeth and I often talk about treat yourself like a toddler. You know, like Gretchen can't get too hungry or she gets really cranky. But I love, like, what would your grandmother say? Your grandmother would say, oh, let's stop and get a coffee.
Yeah, have more chocolate.
Right. Oh, I love that. Well, something making me happier is being here. I am somebody who loves a conference. Give me a badge and I am so happy. I love a big corporate hotel with coffee in the room and a breakfast buffet. And I love to talk shop. And so I just love being at a conference. So I'm very disappointed Elizabeth isn't here because that was going to be even more fun. But still, I love a conference. So now, Jenny, something that I've been meaning to ask you is, I think colloquially, we all use the term mattering. You matter to me, I want to feel like I matter, but you have a very specific definition. And I've talked to you when you're like, well, people are throwing it around, but there's kind of a preciseness to it that I think is really important if we're going to understand how to really plug it into our lives. So go through, how would you talk to somebody about what you mean when you say mattering?
So I use the definition that researchers use who study it, and it's been studied since the 1980s. And it's the idea that we are valued by ourselves, by our family, friends, colleagues, society, and have an opportunity to add value back, again, to ourselves, to our family, friends, and society. So mattering acts like a kind of positive, virtuous cycle. The more you feel valued, the more you want to add value, the more you add value, the more you feel valued.
So this is interesting to me because I think I've read about research for people who are in assisted living or something like that. They give them like a plant to take care of or a bird or something, because part of it is like maybe people are caring for you and well, I matter to my kids, but I don't have a way to do that for others.
Yes, that's exactly right. So you can't have just one or the other. They really need to work in unison. And the people that I've met who may have been going through a hard time, and you just mentioned the people living in the retirement communities or aging homes, it's finding small needs. They don't have to be big needs, small needs in your community, your neighborhood, and then using your time, your talent, or your treasure to meet it. So it is finding little needs. If you are feeling like you don't matter, just go find a small need. And it could be as little as sending a text to someone. Remember that advice you gave me last week? It worked. Here's what happened. So closing the loop, letting someone else know how much they matter is a fast track to feeling like we matter ourselves.
Well, and then I know you have this mnemonic of SAID. So what is SAID?
So these are the ingredients that researchers have found go into this feeling of mattering. And it's feeling significant, appreciated, invested in, and depended on. So I can go through them really fast.
Yeah, go through them.
So feeling significant, it struck me in my conversations that when I said to people, tell me a time you felt like you mattered, it was never life's big moments, like getting a promotion or an award at work or a big toast at a milestone birthday. It was the small moments. It was a neighbor bringing over a pot of soup when they were sick, or a colleague checking in after a particularly rough day at work. So we crave to feel significant in the mundane, the day-to-day. Feeling appreciated is very much appreciating the doer behind the deed. So if you have a friend who's wonderful at gathering people up for nights out, instead of saying to your friend, thanks for such a fun night, thanks for planning that, the way to feed mattering is to say, we are so lucky to have you in our group.
Right.
That you are the glue that keeps us together. And then invested in is just feeling that people are invested in your goals and well-being and that you have people to invest in. And then finally, feeling dependent on is feeling relied on, knowing that others rely on you, that you're not going through this life alone.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. Well, coming up, we're going to be back with Jenny Wallace talking more about mattering and other happiness-related subjects. But first, this break.
You know that mid-afternoon moment when you're deciding between another coffee or just pushing through?
Yes, and usually neither option is great.
This podcast is sponsored by Brodo. I've been trying to find something different, and that is having a cup of bone broth instead.
Gretch, you've been talking about this nonstop. You are such a broth person.
Yeah, because it's so easy. And Brodo's bone broth is made from scratch with no concentrates or shortcuts, and it actually feels like a simple nutrition upgrade. And I also love that it's surprisingly satisfying. I tried the sampler they sent, and every flavor is really rich. It tastes like something you'd get at a great restaurant, not something from a package, and it's very satisfying. Shop the best broth on the planet with Brodo. Head to brodo.com/happier for 20% off your first subscription order and use code HAPPIER for an additional $10 off. Once again, that's brodo.com/happier for 20% off your first subscription order and an additional $10 off if you use our promo code HAPPIER.
Gretch, I spent a lot of time thinking about how much I love our dogs, Nacho and Daisy. They are such an important constant in our lives. They really are family.
No, I feel the same way. Taffy and Barnaby, our dogs are family.
So a quick message from today's sponsor, the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. ASPCA Pet Health Insurance helps cover eligible vet expenses so you can focus on getting them care without stressing about the cost.
And when you enroll in an ASPCA pet health insurance plan, you get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/happier. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/happier. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance.
I have been doing a little spring reset with my closet lately, trying to focus more on quality over quantity, fewer pieces, but ones that are well made and easy to wear every single day. Gretchen, you know what I'm going to say? I love Quince for that. Quince makes beautiful everyday pieces using premium materials. They have 100% European linen, organic cotton, super soft denim with styles starting around $50. And Gretchen, I love their accessories.
Quince linen tops have become my go-to. The fabric feels substantial, but it's still easy to wear, and it does not cost what I thought quality linen would cost. Refresh your spring wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/Gretchen for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to QUINCE.com/Gretchen for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gretchen.
And we're back with Jenny Wallace. Jenny, I have another question that I've been meaning to ask you, but first I want to put a spotlight on a tool, and that is going to be my quiz for my 4 tendencies personality framework. And if you don't know if you're an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or rebel, you can take my free quick quiz at GretchenRubin.com. This is a quiz that like 3.5 million people have taken. I feel like it reveals so much. I'm just going to assume, because I don't want to go into the whole thing, that people know basically about the tendencies. But I asked you to take this quiz, so I want you to just say what you are, and we'll talk about it for a few minutes.
I am so deeply an upholder.
Yes, I know. And then, yes. So how do you see this coming out? Well, I'll say one way I saw it coming out with Jenny. So Jenny and I had dinner last night, and Jenny was like, well, I think we need to get the check because I have to be in bed by 9 p.m. And I was like, okay. Because that is a very upholder thing to do. I have my bedtime. I have to be up. I have to be on it. And I'm just going to say, okay, we need to end dinner now. And I love it because I'm an upholder too.
I know. And that's why I feel so seen with Gretchen, that I could be my full self, my rigid,
demanding,
my timeline schedule.
Yes, I get it.
So it shows up to me, I think it shows up really in my work. When I am on a deadline, I used to write for newspapers. I'd get up at 4:00 in the morning, do my heavy writing, and I was really systematic about it, which is why I go to bed early. I've sort of trained myself now to be the 4 a.m. wake-up caller.
But that's demanding. I get up at 5:30, but getting up between 4 a.m., 5:30, and 7, those are really big different times to wake up.
Well, it's a weird thing. I spoke earlier about filling a need for yourself. 4 a.m. is when I feel like I matter to myself. That's when I prioritize myself. No one's
sort
awake.
of before anyone else's demands on you.
Exactly. I'm not answering emails, and that's for me.
Interesting. And then where are the downsides?
Rigidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's having a plan. I used to be a TV producer. It's having a plan and having to, work with other people's ways, others' tendencies.
Yeah, others' tendencies. Okay, well, coming up, I'm going to get to that question that I've been meaning to ask you. But first, this break.
Hey, it's Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Wiser Than Me, etc. Just popping in with a little reality check. Food waste shouldn't exist. There is no reason that our leftovers should end up in a landfill, but that's the final destination for about a third of the food we grow. God, our ancestors would be confused. They use their food scraps as compost, or as animal feed, or in weird soups, all the stuff we did before garbage was invented. But composting is hard work. Living with a bucket of rotten food on your counter is gross. Most food goes in the trash because it's easy. And these days, we'll take any easy we can get. But now there's something easier. Drop your scraps in a mill food recycler. It looks like a kitchen bin, and an iPhone had a baby. It takes nearly anything, even meat and bones. It works automatically. You can keep filling it for weeks, and it never smells. When you finally empty it, you've got these nutrient-rich grounds. Use them in your garden, pour them in your green bin, or have Mill get them to a small farm so the food you don't eat can help grow the food you do, just like it should be. It's why I own a mill, why I invest in Mill, and why I'm still obsessed with my mill. If you want to get obsessed too, go to mill.com/wiser to get $75 off. That's mill.com/wiser for $75 off.
Are you a trailblazer, a risk taker, someone with countless tales of epic adventure? Well, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. Even the boldest among us started small, daring themselves to reach greater goals each day. If you're looking to take on a challenge like that, the Defender is too. It's a vehicle built for those capable of great things, whether you're charting new territory or just escaping the city for the weekend.
The Defender, engineered to meet challenges head-on so you can explore with confidence. An icon reimagined, designed for a new generation of explorers. Choose from the Defender 90, 110, or 130, seating up to 8 adventurers. With a tough-tested exterior, a modern and functional interior, and intelligent tech like 3D surround cameras and the Pivi Pro infotainment system, every journey feels limitless. Because like you, the Defender is capable of great things. Build your Defender today at LandRoverUSA.com. We're back with Jenny Wallace, and I've been meaning to ask you, so there's two parts to this. One has to do with something that you said that I thought was so profound about the weight of mattering. And so I'm writing a book about the empty nest, and I said to you, oh, well, one thing that I'm noticing is that a lot of people are like, I feel like a loss of purpose, I feel a loss of identity, but I also want to maintain total flexibility of my time. Like I want to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and yet I want to get back the kind of purpose that I got from like being a full-time parent. And you said, you have to accept the weight of mattering. So just explain that a little bit, because I think that's true in many circumstances, not just people dealing with the empty nest.
Absolutely. I think as a culture, we've gone too far to the hyper-independence. I don't want any obligations.
Convenience.
I don't want the
flexibility.
responsibility. And unfortunately, without obligation and responsibility, we can really start to drift, and life can feel meaningless. That we need a bit of what I call the good weight of knowing there are people relying on me and depending on me, that I'm making a difference, and I would be missed if I wasn't here. You can't get that when you are constantly, running away from obligation.
Sort of optimizing for, well, this is the thing, the very simple thing is to get a dog. And, that's like such a hackneyed piece of advice, but it's the reason it's so popular, or such a cliche, is because it's really true. I think for many people, it gives a really big difference. The thing about a dog is there's a lot of weight to a dog. There's a lot of pleasure, but there's a lot of weight.
Right, and so you have to know that about yourself. What is it? It needs to be a balance.
Right. Well, this brings me to the question about the people who maybe matter too much. Teachers, parents, caregivers, nurses, people who feel like intensely, maybe too weighed down. They get burned out. So what would you say about that?
Yeah,
this side of mattering?
I have a whole chapter on it, and what I would argue is that that's not true mattering.
Okay.
True mattering
okay.
is a balance between mattering to ourselves, filling our own needs, and the needs of others. So we are socialized, particularly as parents, to put our kids' needs well before our own. And I'm not saying not to do that, but we also need to remind ourselves that we matter too. That if it's that hackneyed expression, you can't give from an empty cup,
Or you have to put on your own
or your oxygen mask. But here's what I would say is that it goes even deeper. What I'm saying, it's not putting on your own oxygen mask. It's actually having one or two people who you can rely on and depend on, and who remind you of your own worth and mattering, who will reach over when you are gasping for air and put that oxygen mask on for you. So what we need for people who matter too much is a higher level of support. So as the stressors go up, the support needs to go up. So if you are a parent that's really, if you have high needs children, or you're a caregiver of some, and you have so much demand on you, you need more support systems supporting you.
But what about the person who maybe is voluntarily giving for whatever reason, whether they think that's the right way to inhabit that role, or that's just their inclination, but they do it so much that it is all flowing out and there's not enough flowing in, but they're not like inviting it or asking for it. They aren't saying in the morning as they're brushing their teeth, what kind of, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're not doing that. How can people notice that maybe they've let themselves get out of balance?
I think when you're out of balance. I think you get stressed. I think you're chronically tired.
But then do you think people but nobody appreciates me. Nobody sees what I do. It can kind of turn into sort of an indulgent resentment.
So can I say a really quick study that came out of the Mayo Clinic? And it's since been replicated. It was of busy physicians who were also mothers, who were reporting low levels of well-being and high levels of stress. Researchers tried a simple intervention. For 12 weeks, they had the women meet in small groups of 5 or 6 to support each other for 1 hour a week, to support each other and feel seen and heard. After the course of 12 weeks, not one woman dropped out. They reported higher levels of well-being. Their cortisol levels, the stress hormone, had dropped. That is because our resilience rests on our relationships. We cannot self-care ourselves to resilience. It rests on 1 or 2 people in our life who see us and know us and remind us that we matter too.
But you can see how, aside from participating in a study, people might think, oh my gosh, I'm a busy doctor and I'm a mother. I don't have time to hang out with a bunch of strangers for an hour a week. I've got a million things I should be doing with that hour. And so you kind of make the wrong choice.
Exactly. You have to put this time in your calendar and protect it the way you would a doctor's appointment for your child. This is your time, 1 hour a week. That's not a lot. And you could do it, the research has found this could be done virtually. It was also tested on men, also works for men.
And so if you feel that someone else is out of balance, where you're seeing somebody who is burning the candle at both ends, that sounds very judgy and kind of annoying for someone to just say, like, you need to take more time for yourself, and it doesn't work. How would you get them to acknowledge that? Well,
I don't know that I would even get them to acknowledge it. I would start prioritizing them.
Okay, you would just act.
I would just act on it. I would, because I have friends like this who do this. And so instead, I say, I'd love to take you to lunch. Or drop off something for them. Let them feel important. Yes. Let them know how much they matter, that their needs matter too.
That is such a good idea. So just address the imbalance yourself rather than trying to get them on board with understanding it. Okay, that's a great suggestion. What is one thing that you think people really misunderstand about mattering?
I think they don't realize how much agency they have. That we rely on other people to make us feel like we matter. And yes, we're social beings. We do crave that social proof, but there are things we can do. We have agency to matter again. And I like to tell people you are one decision, one action away from feeling like you matter again.
Well, back to the idea of the empty nest, because I just think about it all day long. I feel like for some parents, they're really longing for connection with their child, and they feel so distressed when their child isn't texting them back, isn't calling them, doesn't appreciate the care packages. And I feel like maybe they're saying they want to be reminded from their child, you matter to me as my parent. And yet they have many opportunities where they could matter other places where they wouldn't just be depending on someone else's.
That's right. We have agency. We also have a responsibility.
Yeah.
As humans on this earth, we have a responsibility to matter.
Right.
We can't just wait around waiting to matter.
Right.
Go find a small need.
Right.
Go help the neighbor next door who just went through surgery. Offer to walk their dog. Find ways to matter in your everyday life.
Picking up street trash is a really good way to matter.
I have a friend who does this.
Yeah. Has anybody read about David Sedaris? He was recognized by the British government because he's picked up so much trash.
I love that.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay, now, so secrets of adulthood. I love a secret of adulthood, and a secret of adulthood is a lesson that we've learned with time and experience, usually the hard way, about how to make our lives happier, healthier, more productive, or more creative. So what is your secret of adulthood?
That we all need to be and to have corner men in our lives.
Okay, so what is a corner man?
So it's a boxing term. I didn't really know boxing. I learned about it in researching the book, but it's the guy in the corner who wraps the fighter's hand, who looks him in the eye when he's exhausted and says, you have this, you've got this. So really finding people in our life to invest in them so that their successes and well-being become part of us. There's a wonky research term, ego extension, the idea of extending your ego to include the successes and well-being of others, and also to invite that kind of investment, right? We live in a hyper-individualistic society right now. Welcome that. Let people invest in you. That is a fast way of making someone else feel like they matter and reminding you how much you matter.
So is this when you have someone in your corner? Is that what that means? Is that from being a corner?
That's what it is. If you're watching a boxing ring, it's the guy in the corner of the ring.
I saw Rocky.
Yeah. Whatever his name is, I forget.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? Yeah, Mickey.
Yes,
Mickey?
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so what have you done in your own life to be a corner man and have a corner man?
I say to my kids all the time, half of the happiness I get on any given day is my friends' joys and successes. So I do things like, this is silly, but in my desk drawer, I have a thing of confetti. So when a friend, gets the book deal or gets the whatever, we go on Zoom and I'll flick the confetti up in front of the screen. Oh. I love relishing and delighting in my friend's choice. So that is something that I do. And I'm telling you, almost every day. Just before we went on, a friend of mine just had a book come out and I'm doing emojis and doing all the things. Yeah. I feel it. I mean, we are wired to feel each other's joy. Feel it. Delight in it.
Well, it's Elizabeth and I often talk about people are really good at making to-do lists, because you're like to do, and you're looking forward, and you sort of never pause to say, well, what have I gotten done? And so you can make a to-do list. And some people are actually more encouraged to go forward by thinking about all the things they've already done. And sometimes people don't pause to say, oh my gosh, we passed this milestone, or you finally did this, because the minute you get the book deal, you're like, oh my gosh, but my deadline is only 10 months away, or whatever it turns in. Elizabeth and I always talk about getting a present in the mail. And for us, in our sisterly shorthand, getting a present in the mail means I want something good to happen to me out of the blue with no associated responsibilities. So it's not like, oh, you got a book deal, now you have to write a book. It's, oh, you just got a present in the mail. Somebody just sent you something. So you're saying, like, look for opportunities to do that for other people.
And you can get that every day. Every day those opportunities are open to you. And that delight and that joy is open to you.
And how does that connect with mattering?
Well, when you are celebrating somebody else, you are saying, I see the value in you. I see what you have done.
Appreciation and
it's
the
the appreciation, exactly. And also the investment, that the joy that really resonates with me is when I am investing in someone else's goal. So when someone calls me and says, I have a book coming out, I really want this help, I am so energized by it. I can't tell you how many people that I've helped them with their own book launches, because I just get so much joy out of that.
Well, what about somebody who feels like they would like a corner man, but they don't have one?
Well, I would say start keeping your ears open, right? Who around you is somebody which colleague is always cheering on the other people? Or do you have a neighbor who's always waiting and lingering and wants to hear how you are, how the kids are? Start engaging with people. Cornermen are all around you. We are just sometimes, we have this negativity bias. So the stickiness, the criticism, the slight from the other neighbor is what sticks to us. Start overriding that. Notice all the ways that people are trying to send you the signal that you matter to them, and start investing a little deeper in that relationship.
Well, this reminds me of one of the nicest things somebody has said to me, like in the last few years, is a friend of mine said, and very seriously, like she didn't like take both of my hands in hers, but it was sort of that vibe. And she said, you're somebody in my life who has a bigger dream for me than I can have for myself. Because I'm like, this woman is going places, like she's amazing. But I was so glad to know that I had communicated that enough to her that she felt like I was her corner man.
And then how much did you feel like you mattered?
Here I am bragging on it because it was so meaningful to me. No, I've thought of that many times, and I thought it is one of those things where sometimes it is there's an aphorism. Who said it? One of the French aphorists, I think, something more like, it's the good deeds that we do for others that make us happier than the good deeds that are done for us.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So it's like looking for those opportunities in everyday life.
All these opportunities to repair the world, opportunities to celebrate the good in the world. We need more of this in our everyday lives. Be an agent of mattering. Go around and tell people what it is you admire about them.
So how is this ego extension, though, exactly?
It's extending your ego to include the egos of others. So when you are invested in someone else's success, you grow beyond yourself. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? It extends the self to include others.
Well, that's a very, very powerful idea. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny. It's wonderful to talk to you today. And Jenny, are you feeling happier?
I am definitely feeling happier.
Excellent. Good. Well, thank you to my terrific guest, Jennifer Wallace. Be sure to read her book, Mattering. Thank you to the World Happiness Summit for hosting us here today at South by Southwest. Thank you to Chuck, our invisible producer. And the best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Love that. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Gretchen.
And bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.